Hey, welcome back. Today's video is about lessons learned at the Snake River Standoff in the area of Mountain Home, Idaho. But before we get started, let's do that obligatory montage, shall we?
I gotta move on. Let's go, Johnny! I gotta move on. I gotta move on.
Wow, oh, I'm seeing the wall.
If you're coming here for the PRS Pro Series finale in November, be aware that you are going to have to descend into the gulch carrying all your gear, and you're going to have to climb back out in the afternoon. There are a few ATVs moving around the area, and sometimes the shooter can catch a ride if they really need one, but ultimately you're likely to have to climb out on your own, so be prepared for that. The other thing is, this is not a cart-friendly environment. You're not going to get in and out of there effectively with a cart. You're going to struggle a lot. As a matter of fact, I didn't see a single cart during this match, which brings me a little more to the terrain. The terrain in this particular location is either rocks or dirt. There are no trees in the area that we were shooting from, and there were no man-made obstacles other than the standard PRS barricade, because you have to have that for one stage on a match. Beyond that, everything was shot off of dirt or rocks. No downed trees, no anything else. There were no tank traps, no wooden spools, nothing like that. The stuff I've been practicing on was completely irrelevant, other than the general position shooting. Because shooting off of rocks is kind of a different skill set, and I learned quite a bit doing it, but I'm not ready to share that with you because I don't feel like I have mastered it yet. I have a lot more to learn. So a couple of lessons that I learned while I was there. In this big gusty wind that was approaching 40 miles an hour with heavy rain, you got to get lower when you're spotting. Get your spotting scope down as close to the ground as you can and still get behind it, or your binoculars in my case. Spot from kneeling. Spot from sitting if you can. That is, if you can. It just depends on the situation, whether you're going to be able to see or not, but if you can get lower, you should. It's going to reduce the vibration in your binoculars or spotting scope, and it's going to help you to see more clearly, because ultimately you are responsible for helping spot the shots of the shooter that's shooting. It's kind of a team sport that's an individual sport. It's fun. You should try it. Speaking of heavy rain, waterproof your equipment. I didn't and paid dearly for it. Waterproof your equipment. That means waxing those wax canvas bags before every single match. That means using Scotchgard or some other waterproofing material on your backpack. Making sure you have rain gear, real rain gear, that will sustain a continuous load under high winds and not get you soaking wet and cold. Because it was only 40-some degrees, blowing hard and raining hard. And once it gets you cold, you're going to have a miserable time trying to have manual dexterity to squeeze the trigger. Now, the next thing that you have to consider when you're shooting off of rocks is you're probably going to be climbing on the rocks. As a matter of fact, climbing up onto rocks in order to shoot was kind of a theme of this particular match. I was not prepared for that because guess what I've been doing? Yeah, I've been skipping leg day. We're not doing that anymore. You have to be in shape to do that. So if you haven't been hitting the gym, if you haven't been doing your cardio, I would encourage you to start now so that if you're coming to the PRS Pro Series finale here in November, that you are well prepared to undertake the challenges that are in store for you. You're going to have to move a lot, and you're going to be moving from position to position and getting into some pretty awkward ones trying to shoot off of these rocks. So making sure that you are strong and capable is going to be your best bet. The other thing I would recommend is really think about how heavy your rifle is. If it's too heavy for you to climb up on the rocks with and balance it and balance yourself at the same time, maybe you should consider making little changes that will make it more usable in that environment. And last but not least, if you're coming out here for the PRS Pro Series finale in November, don't bring a worn out barrel. I did this on purpose to see what I could get away with. Oh. Wow. Well, between my limited shooting skill and my lack of competitiveness, it really doesn't make any difference, so I can get away with this. But this barrel did start throwing flyers right at the end of the match and would have been a real bummer if I was leading, because it did cost me 1 point that I know of and maybe one more. So don't bring a worn out barrel with you. On the other hand, if you are shooting a dasher in PRS and want to know how long it'll last, well, this one had 2,300 rounds when I started the match and did just fine until the very last moment of the match at something over 2,500 rounds. So I would say that a dasher that has less than 2,300 rounds, you can probably get away with going to a minor match. If it has more than 2,000, I wouldn't take it to an important match or any match that you intend to win, because it might give up on you. You just never know with a barrel. Some barrels will last longer and some won't. But you don't want it to go away in the middle of an important match that you really are looking to win. Bonus lesson: animal targets are hard for people like me. I'm used to hunting animals. So when I see a full-bodied animal target, I want to shoot it right behind the front leg, in the chest, to kill it. But you're just going to have to take my word for it. No matter how many times you shoot that target right there, it's not going to die. So instead of shooting it in the chest, which is kind of the front third of the target, how about if you bring your point of aim back and try to hit it right in the middle? Because that's going to be more productive for your score. And it's one of those psychological games that they play in PRS out here that you need to make sure that you don't fall for. Shoot the animal in the middle. Take advantage of the full width and height of the target to get as many points as possible so you don't miss off of the front edge like I did on my very last target. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful to you if you're shooting PRS. If you're not, well, maybe you learned something about dashers for your F-class gun. Until next time, shoot straight, and I'll see you in the next video.